Alright, hi everybody. I don't know if you can hear me or whatever. It's been a long time since I've done any YouTube videos, and this is for YouTube. I've just been super busy, laying low, haven't had a lot of data or Wi-Fi available to upload videos. And on my radio show, you know, there's words that YouTube doesn't like. So plus I don't have the editing stuff because I don't have that kind of a PC right now to be able to edit my shows. So I'm not getting copyright violations for the commercials, you know, in and around my shows. So that's where I'm at. Today I want to talk to you about manipulation. And manipulation leads to human trafficking. It leads to every addiction that there is, and it is the most coercive thing. So manipulation replaces God or the Creator, or you know, whatever we are supposed to be divinely, you know, sourced up with. And manipulation happens when we're young. We're manipulated by all aspects of society to do what they want us to do. And then eventually the behavioral pattern, you know, sinks in. To where we just don't question. But then the problem is that we don't, and I've talked about this before on YouTube. Problem is that, sorry, I probably still have food. Try to clean up, not be so barbarian. We replace the benevolent source, creator, God with a God with not having a vocabulary for the God, because it's replaced by manipulation. And so we end up, because of manipulation, in a reward punishment system and society. And so then we start to believe that the Creator, God, or whatever is also malevolent, and that it's a reward punishment system. But the reward punishment system that's been developed, and that, you know, we're still stuck in as adults. And this is why we can't break out of family habits, genetic habits, cellular habits, structural habits, financial habits, addiction habits, whatever they're going to be, because it was the original manipulation. So when you're a child, and even when you're little, before you have words, you know, if you're good and you sit here, you can have a little soda. If you're good and you sit here, you can have a little cookie. If you know, do this, I'll give you this. In the beginning, it's really tough, because this is where the terrible twos comes in. The terrible twos are about, like, yeah, I don't want to do your manipulation, because I'm working on my own identity and I have my own, like, will. And the terrible twos are reacting to the manipulation in the world around them, because everybody's trying to manipulate you. For example, other types of manipulation that are abuse. People that, you know, children that end up touching their privates a lot. It happens. There's scratching and pulling and whatever else. And it's not like a consciously thought out thing, but I've heard that, you know, people even taking ribbons and yarn and other things to tie, you know, the hands of the child against the crib. So every time they do that behavior, they're tied up, kind of in a nice way, in their crib. Or they're constantly being redirected with a cookie, or this or that. If you do this or you do that, you'll have this. And never being able to truly sort out your own emotions, you know, governing any of those kinds of scenarios. And then after a while, you just get tired of trying to fight it, because the adults are in control, and they are all manipulating you. They are all reward punishment. They are all reward punishment. Well, who wouldn't want to take the reward over getting punished? It takes a really courageous being to get the punishment in this world. It takes a really, willful being, connected, fully to source. So I can remember things like, my mom was like kind of subtle. My mom, having had gone through her own issues, and so when I came along, it would be more subtle things, like if you go to the dentist and you're nice at the dentist, which means you don't cause a fit at the dentist, then afterwards we'll go have McDonald's. And those kinds of things were rare, because we were like super poor. And back then, poor didn't really eat fast food because, it was a long distance to go and get the fast food. And so my sister ended up, developing, super obesity at a young age. I was a little bit harder to manipulate. I was a little bit more wiry, probably a little bit more, adventuresome, risk taker, always been that way. So, my mom would find things that would be suitable to manipulate us. And I'm talking about this because lately, at 53 years of age, I'm still working through, and actually I'm done working on it as of today, working on dealing with people who are constantly trying to manipulate you. Especially in holistic medicine, metaphysics, there's a lot of, I think just in business in general, like I withhold the money from you if you don't do the things that I want you to do, or I'm only going to pay you this much, or whatever's going to happen. So human traffic, I'm waiting for my appointment. She just showed up. She's listening to rock music. We're dealing with, past manipulation. So I think it causes all kinds of addictions too. I'm watching people smoke, taking their breaks, smoking, from their job. It's because they are being manipulated by their employers to perform, to do this, to sit down, to be quiet, don't say that, conform. And it gets to where conformity is so painful that you have to manage something else. You have to drink, you have to do drugs, you have to smoke, you have to finally, sometimes you just break and you just like lose it. You lose control against the oppressor. The thing is that this is just how our system is. And, I know for a fact that this is like the American type way. I'm not really sure like other countries are this kind of manipulative. I think they're more dominating. But everything that is wrong with us psychologically goes back to this whole manipulation. So, Santa is a manipulation. The Easter Bunny is a manipulation. The Tooth Fairy is a manipulation. It's a reward punishment system. Oh, I'm sorry about your tooth and it's bothering you. But, once it's out, you can put it under your pillow and you can get like some money for it. Well, that's a problem. Because in that manipulation, not only do you have the secret Tooth Fairy is also like God, who is a giver and taker, or reward punishment. You're getting punished because your teeth are falling out, and then you're going to get some kind of financial reward. But there's also kind of a really disgusting thing that's attached to that it's okay for supernatural beings like Santa Claus or Easter Bunny or the Tooth Fairy to be able to come into your room, because this is part of the reward punishment system. So that means that anything that people do that sneak into your room or sneak into your house or do these kinds of things that you're really not going to fight against, right? Because it's all part of the manipulation disorder and something that you're trained into, that, in some circumstances, these things are okay. When we have to really stop manipulating our children, manipulating each other, and so that people can actually create boundaries and establish their own space, their own feelings, their own connection to the Creator. And it's going to be difficult, because today I had a situation where I ended up having to kind of fire a client, and I knew that it probably was going to happen. It was just shocking when I walked out of her house, and like how manipulative she became. And because, you know, they want something, and they want to, you know, it's all just part of this manipulation and this whole reward punishment system. So break free, and that may mean stepping away from the financial system, or changing, you know, how you're dealing with the financial system, or changing how you're dealing with the outside world. Because once you become adult, the reward punishment system is far more sketchy, and so much more serious, because if it lends to you harming yourself, by being able to cope, to meet the bare minimum requirements, which means squashing every little part of yourself, including your Creator and your God that is trying to talk to you from the inside. And when you hear that voice run, it means run. Not, oh, smoke another cigarette so you can walk back into your corporation job and sit down at your desk and you know, worship the financial god and your corporation. So anyway, that's what I've got to say. All right. Yeah, so sessions, I'm still doing online sessions. If people want them, you can go to my website, coe-llc.com. I do a lot of shamanism, healing work, timeline work, nutrition, herbal medicine, lots of different kinds of medical stuff, healthcare. So if you need help, you can reach out, and I promise not to manipulate you. I promise to, what do I promise? I promise to give you your mind back. All right. Talk to you later. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.